Hi everyone, can you hear me clearly? Hi Naomi.
Morning.
So we have 4 minutes to start. So would you please write which country you're from? So Naomi, do you like to say anything in the beginning?
Yes, hang on. I'm just finding my video, just 1 minute, sorry. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Naomi Tillinger. You can hear me okay? We good? Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay, great.
I can hear you, yes.
So
yes.
I'm very excited. I'm actually originally South African. I'm really excited to be part of this panel, part of this conference. First time that I'm joining. I met Shireen last year at the ASM conference, and I appreciate you inviting me, and I look forward to learning from everybody, from the panelists as well as from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. It was fantastic seeing you in Chicago. Thank you for supporting the community, supporting everyone to learn. That's really great. Okay, so shall we share the presentation? So, Adnan, Ammar, would you like to say anything in the beginning, just before we start?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here. I'm really so glad to be within this crowd from all across the globe, from all 5 continents. It's a bit more challenging, but I hope we have a great day and learn from each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ammar. Okay, Adnan, do you like to mention anything? Mr. Adnan Al-Banna? Okay, Norman, we can see you now. So do you like to unmute and welcome everyone?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. First of all, thank you, Shireen, for inviting me to this amazing session. And I see it's a collection of very great minds for the next 4 hours. And I look forward to be part of the intelligent supply chain panel and share my thoughts on it. And best of luck, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. So we have Cindy from Allianz. We have many people coming from different countries. That's amazing. Okay. So many things. So I would like to invite everyone to share and learn and write your questions and so learn something new and many things new, because we always tell people the supply chain is about decision. Okay, so I would like to introduce first speaker.
Assalamu alaikum once again. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is with the greatest pleasure to be here. Today we're going to talk about building a supply chain of tomorrow. So in this presentation, I'll talk a little bit about what do you mean by Industry 4 digitalization, and then I'll talk a little bit about how can we have the characteristics of the supply chain 4.0, and then I'll end up with some thoughts and general remarks about the Industrial 4.0. Talking about the journey of what we are right away, starting by first industrial revolution, which was around 1784, whereby we're having centered around the introduction of the equipment and geared by the steam engines, and that was first mechanical loom was around 1784. And then we shift to second industry revolution, which is based upon the introduction of electrical energy, and we have a mass production. These are huge productions, but it is a labor-intensive thing. The most popular production line was for the port, but still we need to have the labor. And then Industry 3 was really a true revolution when we have introduction of the internet. We start to automate the productions. It was around 1969, because the internet before that was very limited use for intelligence and military, and now it become industrial use. So we have the automations, we have the what we call it, the chip conductors and etc. So we have a huge shift in the manufacturing industry. And then nowadays we are living in the era of fourth revolution, which is 10 times impact of the internet revolution, because there was a convergence between the human being and the machine. We have the computer everywhere. Our mobile is an extension of us. We barely could distinct and separate a human from the machine. So it has a huge impact in the culture, industry, and government. And there is a huge shift from focusing in cooperation to focusing in people and empowering people. Or from just focusing about to produce much to produce exactly and adapt. The keyword here, adapt, means change the manufacturing to fit the unique requirement for the customers. Doing the things right, it doesn't mean doing the right thing. We might produce a huge quantity of a certain product, but there's no demand. But to reach to a digitalization, there's a huge challenges. There's a journey to go. Next, please. I will just leave you with a remark from World Economic Forum. We stand in the brink of technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, we work, and relate one to another in terms of scale, scope, and complexity. That transformation will be unlike anything humankind has experienced before. So whether we like it or not, the digital transformation, Industry 4.0, led to something new, something unprecedented, something unique in all aspects, where we have robotics, automation, digitalization, AI, Internet of Things become a piece of our life. Nowadays, our mobile knows much more than what we know about ourselves, about behavior, about sleeping and things. And just think of the smartwatch application in healthcare, and how can the smartwatch monitor the heartbeat and maybe later in the future in the blood sugar and so on and so forth. Next, please. Here is just to give you a perspective of what we are going to. We used to focus in Industry 3.0 only what happens within the factory itself, within the organization, within our four walls. But due to the complexity of the world, we need to think of the value chain, of the whole supply chain, what's happening from procurement, raw material, supplier, receiving the material, manufacturing, outbound transportations, and link together to a cloud and share information and interact with it. So the key fundamental for the Industry 4.0 and supply chain revolution, or supply chain of tomorrow, is having access to the data. Next, please. With that said, before we move to data, the supply chain digitalization meant focusing in the leveraging the technology, whether it is augmented reality, big data, autonomous robotics, to reach to end-to-end visibility, which is the best of the best supply chain. Means I have the access to what's going on right away from our supplier, from our logistics, from our manufacturing, outbound logistics, until to reach to the customer. And this are based on the advanced analytics. And here, word of cautious, in order to have the digitalization up and running, we need really to worry about cybersecurity and with the strict things, otherwise we will be under the mercy of the hack attack. Next, please. So back to the data. Data is the key word. One of the key flow in the supply chain called information flow. The whole game of digitalization of the supply chain is about having access to timely, accurate data, and it should be accessible. There's a gentleman called Mr. Edwards saying, without a data, you are just another person with an opinion. So we need to shift our mind and think of data as a really asset that we need to collect, maintain, and make it accessible, and make the data management authorizations. Who should access the data? What level of the data? And how can we maintain it? How we can retrieve it if needed? Next, please. With data, I would like to stop because so many people are worried about technology, the latest technology, robotics, augmented reality, 3D. But the key foundations of all what we are saying, the data. That's why one of the great course in LinkedIn, they mentioned something about information value chain. It starts with something called data. Data is a raw data. For example, you have a phone number. Even you have hundreds of phone numbers, has no value if you didn't know what to do with them. Same thing goes with our daily use. If we are working hospital, we have access of hundreds of data. Do archive it, classify it. But if I have certain name attached to certain number, I can search for this information. It can lead me to an action and make a better decision. Then going to step 3, if I analyze the information and do the cleansing, and make it in a trends, I use the knowledge and really reach to something called evidence-based decision, rather than just make decision upon the speculations. But as we add more and more relation to the information, still we need the intuition and the human being factor, the expert judgment to reach to the wisdom. So the basic foundation for all what we are going to talk about it, the information value chain. Next, please. So our supply chain is heavily dependent on the data. All what you see, the role model supply chain, talking about Cisco, Walmart, Al-Mara'i, Aramco, Sabic, are based upon the data, reliable data. And we should maintain a single source of truth. Arguably, it is something called ERP system. What are the data we are collecting? Sometimes we need to know the manufacturing level, what are the packaging mode, what the level of manufacturing, do we have full rate productions, do we have any interruption with the manufacturing line? And then we need to collect about the inventory level, minimum and maximum level, inventory turnover, which means how many times inventory get in and out of my distribution center. And then back, please. Sorry. One more slide back, please. And then we need to know more data about the customers' demand, customer signals, behavior, if you collect informations. And then we need to have information about supplier data, availability of raw materials, component, packaging material, spare parts, MRO, which is maintenance, repair, and operation materials. We need to have all of this data available. Next, please. Back to our initial thoughts, which is we need to have a single source of truth. Arguably is the something called enterprise resource planning system, like SAP, Oracle, and likewise. But sometimes we need much more than ERP system. We need warehouse management system, which has much more advanced feature to manage the warehouse and the material. Or we need transportation management system, TMS system, which is tracking and tracing and suggest the optimal route for the transportation. But we need to maintain a single source of truth and arguably ERP system. That's why we need system talk to each other through mediator or data interfaces. Next, please. To reach to all of this data, we need to collect data. Collect data from using QR code, RFID, sensors. We need to collect data in a timely manner. And guess what? We need our devices to be connected to internet to have the timely access data and have end-to-end visibility, which is the main output of the supply chain digitalization. So the IoT is the collective network of connected devices like our containers, our pallets, our warehouse, and the technology that facilitates communication between devices and the cloud, as well as between the devices themselves, so devices can send signal. Volvo, one of the leading automobile manufacturing, they have 5,000 to 6,000 vehicles. They use IoT for two main reasons. One of them, to track the components, because it comes from multiple locations. They have 10 locations and all across the globe. So they need to track it. It used to take them hours to search for parts or vehicle, or the 5,000 to 6,000 manufactured vehicles and the tracks. This, with using IoT technology, they can track and know it in a piece of minutes. And guess what? All the 5 continents have access to this data. Next, please. So, organization in a variety of industries using IoT to operate efficiently, better understand customer, and deliver enhanced customer service, and improve decision making and increase the value of business. Next, please. With that said, we are talking about what are the application of IoT studies. This is a really amazing study. It conducted back in 2021, so it's a bit recent. And you could see out of the 10 top applications, what's in IT language they call use cases. Anybody with an IT background, they would know what the use case means, what the proper applications, proven application of a certain technology. You can go to the number 4, which is vehicle fleet management. Go to number 8, IoT good condition monitoring and transient, and track and trace. For example, in our country, Saudi Arabia, it's a mandatory if you have a pharmaceutical items to track it and trace it, because you are dealing with a time and temperature sensitive product. You need to know the conditions of temperature and apply strict rules of regulation. Otherwise, it turns to be the drugs and medicines to something poisonous to the patient. And so many other applications, they are not far away from the supply chain. Talking about big data, it is actually enabled by having IoT, having technology like RFID, barcoding, sensor everywhere. Big data essentially refer to the vast amount of data, structured and unstructured. Structured data means in tabular format that can be utilized for analysis using Excel, using ERP system, and likewise. Unstructured means some data we need to do a little bit of manipulation to make it structured and useful. A good example of unstructured data and very valuable data, some data called VOC data, voice of customer, like tweets, videos, comments, Google comments. How can we convert this data to become a useful data, readable and accessible by our tools, set of tools to reach us to a better decisions? And by the way, there is a specialized company, they convert what we have in social media to a structured data. Why we need all of this data? To establish trends and pattern human behavior interactions. Sometime in economy, they call consumer behavior. I want when the customer sell, how much sell, what their behavior, what their preference, how they spend time in this social media, and so on and so forth. This allows companies to leverage this information to enable better decision making, thanks to knowledge of what their customer require. You heard multiple time decision making. We would love by utilizing Industry 4 and big data and IoT to reach to a better decision, which leads us to a better outcomes from the customer point of view. Next, please. A very familiar example, I think most of you are aware of it, the giant e-commerce, Amazon, they use all your shop cart, your behavior, your searching, and then they have something called personalized recommendations based upon your behavior. And believe it or not, there's 30%, 35% of the sales are from the personalized recommendation, and they are based mainly in AI and IoT. Next, please. The question is, how can we start? According to a recent study, a bit recent from industry, from McKinsey's 2000, lack of a clear vision, sorry, back. Iman. Yes, the lack of a clear vision, strategy, and systematic roadmap were the biggest challenge hindering Industry 4 adoptions. As we said, a lot of the companies, they get consultation with me or any other but else. They are eager about technology, they have a video or a promo, and they want to implement it. But they didn't do it systematically. It is a strategic decision, need to be done probably and following a strict framework. And one of the greatest framework, next please, called Smart Industry Readiness Index. Simply, it has a suite of framework tools help companies, regardless of their size, to start, scale, and sustain. Every digital transformation journey has an initiation and a start phase. How to scale it up, it's another challenge. And then how to sustain it and turn it from a transformation to become a business as usual. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge investment, and then we get nothing out of it. So this framework simply will benchmark you, means do the comparative analysis between your performance and your peers and give you an assessment in multiple aspects. Next, please. So this is the framework. It has 3 main building blocks, which is, most of you know it, and all of the software, which is process, technology, and people, or organization called here. But the best thing about this framework, which is, by the way, is available in public domain, you can search it. It's developed by Singaporean Economic Development Forum. It goes the process of further than operations. It includes the supply chain processes and all the product life cycle from product introductory until the expiry product. And then they have different definition of technology, and we will come to the technology in a minute. And then the organization, talking about talent readiness, structure management. Do we have a structure flexible enough to allocate resources, budget for the digital transformation? Because a huge investment need to be buried by all of the partners within the company. Next, please. One of the really amazing tool within the framework, something called LEAD, which stands for Learn, Evaluate, Architect, and Deliver. First and foremost, we need to have a key concept and key terminology, and all of the affected parties within the companies have a common language of what do you mean by transformation, IT, ERP, etc. And then evaluate our current industry level maturity, means where we are standing in comparison to our peers. And then architect, and the key word here is comprehensive transformation strategy, means the transformation cannot happen in only logistics or supply chain or operation or manufacturing. It is the game for everybody to play. It is a game changer, and everybody need to play in it, whether it's procurement, supply chain, logistics, IT, etc. And the last but not least, back please. One more please. Deliver the impact and sustain the transformation. Please keep in your mind the keyword sustain, because the transformation is changing the way we do business for a while. Then once we have a transformation or a change, we need to put policies, processes to make it business as usual. So this is just a one aspect. It is, by the way, it is 100 pages. We couldn't discuss it in a short while, but this is the technology. If you think of a technology, it has three main components. The automation, it's the muscles, then connectivity, the nerve system, and the intelligence, it's the brain system. So every technology, you have to think of it, how would help me to automate the processes and make it more convenient? How will connect internally and with my supplier and customer? And is it smart enough and help me in short run and long term? Next, please. Here, it is a great tool as well, I think, from McKinsey. Every investment in digital transformation is a huge investment. So if I do invest money, resources, I do expect a return. For example, we're talking about 3D printing. I do expect 25% to 50% reduction in inventory, cost reduction, improve the productivity. So every technology, there is like a benchmark, tell you how much improvement, either operational excellence or better productivity or less maintenance cost or better outcomes or more satisfied customer. And you need to track it to have insight about the investment in your technologies. Next, please. It's Saturday. I don't want to take much of your time. Thank you. Give me your week and valuable weekend days. This is the only a few thoughts and remarks I'll keep you with. First and foremost, supply chain is a key strategies. As Mr. Martin Christopher said, competition is not anymore between companies, it's between supply chain. Managing the extended supply chain beyond first tier customer and supplier, which means your direct supplier and direct customer. We use digital to enable sense of supply chain ecosystem, which involve of companies, people, machine, software, and data. It is an ecosystem. It's much more than just two companies. It's the virtual ecosystem that link together and work together and has inter-company collaboration. Digitalizations increase visibility and reaction capabilities by far, as we explained. And lastly, collaboration across the ecosystem, even with competitors if needed, and the terminology is called cohabitation. Thank you so much. If you have any question, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Ammar. Before we move on to the next panel, we have like 3 minutes. So please go back. We will not move to the panel now. We still have 3 minutes. So I would like to thank you. It looks like you are fond of Siri model. Okay, smart industry. So it's I have taken the course, by the way, and became Siri assessor. So I understand how much it means a lot to the industry. But when we talk about supply chain, we have different models for digital supply chain, like DCM or digital capabilities model, which we can learn together. But in your point of view, what % of technology adoption currently across industries? Like you talk about the future, you talk about fantastic tools. And how do you think, where are we from this? Where are we from understanding and adapting?
Again, some of it is very well known and very well used. AI is a big game, big data as well. It's a realistic things. It's been utilized by even small and medium companies. Even we have the new business model like Hunger Station, Nana, and all of this last mile delivery are utilizing AI, are mainly in AI. So I would say AI and big data are the main current drivers, and they will be for a while. And if we're talking about further in the future, generative AI, robotics, RPA, robotics process automations as well play an important role within the industry.
Thank you, Ammar. And we have one question for you about Industry 5.0. Is it applied or still theoretically introduced?
I'm sorry, say that again.
A question about Industry 5.0. Applied or still theoretically introduced?
There is a debate actually. Are we in a new revolution or in 4.0s? But there is big debate. Let's not care about the naming, about the applicability of the technology and the approach.
Yes, but let's all admit that when we talk about Industry 4.0, we focus mainly on technology. So 5.0 is taking into concerns the sustainability and human aspect. So let's say many companies now are using the term more of Industry 5.0 because we have been doing with clients in Europe and others. When they study it, they want to assess the impact on environment and sustainability and the impact on human. That's why they call it 5.0. So definitely 5.0 is becoming very important, and it's 4.0 and 5.0 just adding the aspect of people and the sustainability to it. So it's still the core is 4.0. And the theory assessment is assess your factory, your value chain, your company strategy towards Industry 4.0. So last question for the sake of time. With the strong change resistance from all team, how do you think that 4.0 can support in solving the communication problem? Can you share a live example? It talks about resistance and top management.
Resistance?
Yes, resistance from all teams for 4.0.
Again, if we go to the series model or score model or any model, an IT project or any digital transformation, it is a big change. It's by its name, it's transformation, means needs a lot of leadership and dedications. And no different than any other project, it needs to be initiated and approved by the authorized person, hopefully the CEO, and then enforce it, but it should be handled by change management. That's why if we go to the lead model, we're talking about the learn as the key fundamental basics. Before we start, we need to do a lot of training, learning, promotion of the idea before we implement it. So people get to know and touch and they have feeling. And Shireen, if you allow me, I would like to add in the Industry 5.0, the main trend that I see focus in it as well, the supply chain resilience. How we become supply chain resilient enough if we have any risk or failure and get back to the normal operation.
Yes. So let's agree that in Industry 4.0 you have level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each 16 dimensions, right?
Yes.
Which you are presenting now. And
Yes.
when we talk about the organization, we have dimensions. When we talk about process technology, it helps the company to assess where you are. As well, it generates a report for you for your target level and for your against your industry. So at least you need to know what is going on around you in the world. And that's why I fell in love with it and I took this certification. It was a hard one, by the way, but I can see you had the same thing. So I would like to thank you, Ammar, for your participation. Okay, thank everyone in this supporting us. Before we move to the next panel, we would like just to applause for you. Thank you, and give you a simple certificate of appreciation. Thank you, Ammar. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
We will send it to you via email, and let's move, because one of the things you mentioned is that you are certified in SCORE DS, Supply Chain Operation Reference. So I would like to invite you to continue with us with the panel. So we talk about SCORE. So let's move on to the panel. Okay. Thank you, Ammar.
Thank you. Good luck. See you.